Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of the many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advisors, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, July 15th, 2022. New Storybook Trail featured at the Flats by Kira Patterson. There's a new activity coming to Neepawa that will get kids active and reading at the same time. A storybook trail is being created at the Flats for families to enjoy. The town estimates it will be ready as early as Monday, July 18th. A storybook trail is a series of outdoor signs, each with pages from a book. The idea is for people to start at the first sign, then follow the trail and read the book as they go. Neepawa's trail starts at the entrance of the Flats, where the parking lot is located, and goes around the perimeter of the Flats. This project came together with the efforts of 3 local organizations. Director of Recreational Services for the town of Neepawa, Nicole Cooper, explained that the Storybook Trail got started through a grant the town received. Last fall, I got a grant through the Assiniboine Parent Child Care Coalition North Region for $1,300 to have some kind of literature activity for kids in town, she stated. So I chose to do a storybook trail, which consists of 18 signs put up in a location where kids can come from sign to sign, do a little bit of physical activity, and read a book and get out with their families. In this picture, you can see the local organizers. From left, Neepawa Public Library Supervisor Debbie Younger, Neepawa Men's Shed and members Colin McNerney, Gary Oman, and Brad Mummery, Town of Neepawa Recreation Directors Nicole Cooper and Heidi Nugent. Cooper noted that she had gotten some quotes from some manufacturers for the construction of the signs on which the book pages would be posted, and they were upwards of $26,000 to get all 18 done. So she reached out to the Neepawa Men's Shed group to see if they would be interested in doing it. They were more than willing to figure out something, so I basically gave them the idea, and they took it and ran with it, and they did everything from start to finish for the whole manufacturing of the signs, Cooper said. Grant money was used to pay for the materials that the Men's Shed donated their time and work for free. Colin McNerney, one of the members of the Men's Shed, explained that they are a group of senior men who get together and create things while socializing with one another. Men's Sheds is an international organization with independent local chapters all over the world. The group is funded by grants and donations from the community, and the projects they do serve the community in a variety of ways. We don't seem to run out of community projects. They keep on coming, McNerney stated. Projects like this one are great for us because we can take them 6 months in advance, and we can go and putter our way at them at our own pace. The last piece of the puzzle was getting books for the Storybook Trail, which is where the Neepawa Public Library came in. What we'll do is we'll supply the books for this Storybook Trail and change it up as often as we can, explained Debbie Younger, branch supervisor for the Neepawa Library. Unger stated that the library has about 10 different books selected to swap out in the Storybook Trail, and they will be adding more in the future. She noted that the library has purchased the books to be used, of which they have several copies so that they can be split up into the different signs. I will also have one available for borrowing at the library. So if families come down and see the book, they can come to the library and borrow it, take it home, and read it again, she stated. This is a great opportunity for partnership in the town, Unger added. We've long wanted to see a storybook trail in Neepawa, and this gives us a great opportunity to work with the town and Men's Shed. and there is a picture of the first sign in the Storybook Trail in Neepawa. Then we move on to the passing of one of Neepawa's prominent citizens. He was the heart and soul of NACTV. Neepawa remembers Ivan Traill's importance to local access channel by Owen Devereaux. It's kind of easy to forget sometimes that not every community in Canada even has a local cable access station anymore, let alone one that's still thriving like NACTV in Neepawa. We are, it seems, that rare exception to the rule. One of the important people we have to thank for that is Ivan Traill. Traill, 90 years old, passed away in June. Commemorations for the man poured in after the community learned of his passing from all walks of life. Before his time as station manager, Traill was a well-regarded local teacher who moved up the ranks to ultimately become principal at the Neepawa Area Collegiate Institute. As well, he was part of the formation of the Viscount Cultural Centre, now known as Arts Forward, and the Margaret Lawrence Home. On a more global scale, Ivan, through the efforts of his wife Pat, were well known for supporting global initiatives, such as the International Inner Wheel Leadership Program in India and Turkey. As a couple, they also traveled the Brazilian Amazon and supported the immunization projects in Belize. In many different avenues, Traill was a well-known and well-regarded individual, even before the formation of NACTV. The leader and face of NACTV. For many people, however, it was Traill's commitment to Neepawa's community access station, NACTV, that stands out as a crowning achievement over the last 40-plus years. Starting in 1977, Ivan first served as a volunteer for the fledgling cable access channel before later taking the reins as the station manager. Traill would remain in that capacity until 2016, when he decided to step down. In a broadcast recently broadcast on NACTV, current board chair and personal friend of Traill, Dave Bennett, talked about just what Ivan meant to the channel. Ivan was a pillar of our community and was the heart and soul of our station since its inception in 1977, until he retired in 2016. Working strictly as a volunteer for all those years, he single-handedly was the leader and the face of NACTV. He will be sadly missed by all of us at NACTV and our viewing audience. Saved the station many times. Current NACTV board member and family friend Don Walmsley concurred with many of the statements from Bennett regarding Ivan's impact locally. Walmsley added that he first saw firsthand over the years the passion and commitment Traill had for keeping the channel afloat. In the early 1980s, the station was struggling, really struggling. It had no sources of income. We were trying to make things go through grants, fundraising, that kind of thing. And I ended up doing an article in the paper laying out just how perilous the situation was, noted Walmsley. It was Ivan who was the first to respond. He would not let the station close. He became more involved, and when he no longer had other work, he was the man and he kept it going. NACTV would not be here today if not for his efforts in those early years. Walmsley said that while Ivan's efforts to make deals and search for support was tireless, his passion for creating original programs about local events, personalities was just strong. There were so many stories, local stories, that would not have been told if not for him. Ivan made programs about everything, creating a huge archive of video footage that's a part of the station to this day. He was creative, thought outside the box, and was a defender of NACTV, said Walmsley. Legacy lives on through the station. Though Ivan Traill has not been an active part of the operation of NACTV for a little over 6 years, his fingerprints remain upon its day-to-day mindset, that sharing local stories, no matter how large or small, matters. The truth is, television stations like this are critical, and even more so today, because it gives you local perspective, Walmsley noted. Ivan was a community person, and a big part that the local perspective will be passed on and continue on because of Ivan Traill. Margaret Lawrence Scholar makes a stop at the author's home by Kira Patterson. A recent visitor to the Margaret Lawrence home in Neepawa was more than just a fan of the author. Greta McCormick-Koger is a retired English literature professor who was one of the founding members of the Margaret Lawrence Society and editor of the Margaret Lawrence Review, a yearly newsletter about the author and her works. She also wrote and published a book called New Perspectives on Margaret Lawrence, Poetic Narrative, Multiculturalism, and Feminism. McCormick-Koger came all the way from Tennessee for her recent visit to Manitoba. She grew up in Cardale, Manitoba, and was here for a cairn unveiling in the community and to visit her niece, who lives in Brandon. While in the area, she decided to come and visit the Margaret Lawrence home to see how it has changed. She was here last in the museum's early years. Although she grew up in Manitoba, McCormick-Koger noted that she didn't discover the local author until she was living and working in Africa. Margaret Lawrence had also lived in Africa for a number of years and had based some of her works around her experiences there. Lawrence, an international figure. McCormick-Koger has been to countless literary conferences and conventions where she's met Margaret Lawrence scholars from all over the world. She stated that Lawrence's works resonate with all types of people because they deal with different family dynamics and a whole range of economic situations. She wrote as though it was poetry, McCormick-Koger enthused, noting that Lawrence's poetic use of language reached people's emotions. I just think people have to read the books. At one of the conferences in California that McCormick-Koger attended, they had a special session about Margaret Lawrence. We had a wonderful special session on her, and at the end, there were people who proposed that we form a Margaret Lawrence Society. So they asked me to be president and also publisher because we thought a Margaret Lawrence Review and newsletter would be wanted, she recalled. So, from 1991 to 2010, McCormick-Koger was the editor of the Margaret Lawrence Review. The newsletter was sent out to subscribers, including many Canadian universities. To fill the yearly publication, she received information and perspectives from international experts, examining Lawrence's work, as well as telling the story of the author's life and history. During that time, she also put together her book, which was published in 1996. Love what they've done with the place. McCormick-Koger also noted that the Margaret Lawrence home has had many changes since she was last there. This home is great, and there are many new improvements and additions and displays of many books. Not only more of her own books, but downstairs all the historic things she expressed, and the audio tour is excellent. McCormick-Koger has quite the passion for Neepawa author, so she's glad that the heritage of the local icon can be preserved. The Immigration Advisory Council hosts consultation in Neepawa by Kira Patterson. Members of the province's Immigration Advisory Council, IAC, were in Neepawa on Monday to get a local perspective on the topic of immigration, more specifically, how Manitoba can attract and retain more immigrants. MLA John Rays, Minister of Education, Skills and Immigration, was at the meeting in the Neepawa Library. He presented an overview of the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, MPNP, as well as some figures and statistics on how many immigrants come to Manitoba and where they typically settle. One figure of note was that just under 30% of immigrants to Manitoba settle outside the city of Winnipeg, a number of Rays says he hopes to increase in the coming years. Many suggestions were made. The main purpose of the IAC meeting was to hear from the community about what local residents think would improve the immigration process and experience for potential foreign workers. Several representatives of different local organizations made presentations, including Don Walmsley, Executive Director of the Neepawa Immigration Settlement Services, Brian Headley, Deputy Mayor for the town of Neepawa, and Lindsay Hextall, HR Director at High Life. Walmsley listed a number of points that he believes could make the process smoother and more appealing for potential immigrants. He noted that more pre-arrival services are needed to help immigrants prepare for such a big change and to help them better understand what to expect when coming to Canada. He also suggested that the provincial bodies involved communicate more directly with the rural communities to help identify the needs and opportunities that exist outside of Winnipeg. Walmsley was among several who stated that credential recognition is always a huge obstacle for many newcomers to Canada, as a large contingency of immigrants have training and experience in certain fields of work, but find it very difficult to get their degrees and certifications from their home countries recognized by the Canadian government. In response to the concerns over credential recognition, Reyes noted that the IIC is hoping to work with regulatory bodies that oversee the topic. While he explained that the regulations are important to ensure a safe workplace and that employees are trained to Canadian standards, there are many improvements needed, and he will be working with the regulatory bodies to streamline the process and make credential recognition more accessible. Need for training center. To help retain workers in rural communities, Walmsley and many others at the meeting suggested more investment into training centers outside of the province's larger cities. He stated there is a need for places where individuals can enhance their skills to be able to get higher paying jobs without having to leave the rural community they've settled in. Deputy Mayor Headley echoed that statement, noting that the town of Neepawa has expressed interest in hosting such a facility if the province would consider it. He added there is a need to get more workers into a variety of positions quickly. He cited the construction of the new hospital in Neepawa, stating that they will need trained healthcare workers to staff the facility once it's completed, and they would like to see the opportunity presented to local residents to be able to take those positions. Agassiz MLA Eileen Clark, who was also in attendance at the meeting, noted that she has had some discussions with the local school division about a training centre, so it is something that the province has been considering. More support needed for the growing population. Amanda Nightingale, Director of Services for the local Salvation Army branch, noted that if the province and the town want to bring more people into the community, they need services and resources to be able to support more people. She noted that housing is already a huge challenge for the many newcomers, especially those looking for single accommodations. Nightingale added the use of the food bank services has been dramatically increasing over the last couple of years as well, suggesting that there are people falling through the cracks. While community growth is good and many people are predicting that Neepawa may become a city in the near future, she stated that the community will not be equipped to deal with the challenge of such rapid growth without additional support. As for when the results of these community consultations may be implemented, Reyes noted that the IIC report is required to be finished before the end of this year. Once the report is presented to the legislature, they will be able to look at a timeline for policy implementation. Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. One is never too old to plant another tree. Taking a lesson from Mr. Bergen, a gentleman that raised his family in the Stephenfield district way back in the 50s, I planted an apple tree. Mr. Bergen was the father of one of my father's friends, a farmer, an immigrant who was fluent in German language and a man with unlimited interest in all of life. In real time, he was probably as old then as I am now, but to my mind, he was old. We conversed well, he in German and I in English, both of us having enough knowledge of the other's dialect to understand but not speak. He had planted an apple tree in the decaying stump of a maple. He saw the questions in my eyes and elaborated. He would probably never get to eat the apples of that tree, but his children and grandchildren would. All 3 generations enjoyed those apples, for the wizened old farmer had endurance. The apple tree in my backyard has an enormous wound, and despite care, it is slowly dying. I picked up a Perry Magic apple tree, originally designed by Mr. Drysdale of Neepawa. My logic is that coming back home, it should feel comfortable enough to prosper. Getting into the swing of things, I picked up a valiant grape plant as well. This week, I will be planting a trail crab apple, for the Prairie Magic is not self-pollinating. The trail is a childhood memory. The neighbors, the Beltison family, had one of those in their orchard, and then while farming in Homewood, there was a trail in the garden. Come harvest time, the men would pick an ice cream pail of apples before heading out to swath or combine. The pail always came back empty. So good, so crisp and sweet. My backyard is getting full, but oh so beautiful. Last year I purchased a gooseberry bush, 2 Saskatoon bushes, and 6 golden raspberries from the greenhouse here in Neepawa. Every one of them made it through the winter, and though I will probably have to wait a bit for fruit, they are looking really good. That is also where I picked up the Prairie Magic and the Valiant. I had to look further afield for the trail crab, as I was despairing of finding one. A good number of hold-out accompanied nursery catalogs. My sister asked me if I had tried Aubyn's Nursery in Carman. I had not. They have them in stock and will shrink wrap it so I can transport it in the car with no damage to the plant. My goal is to find a beta grape just because I still have room for another plant. And the strawberry plants I purchased this year from the Parkwood greenhouse has been supplying us with the most delicious berries. I have them netted against the birds. We have nests all over the backyard. I caught one little rascal slipping under the net, so I anchored it more firmly. We have fenced the backyard, leaving ample space beyond the fence for whatever. If I keep this planting up, we may have to move the fence. Thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs down to some of the residents in town that have no respect for their neighbors and insist on yelling and screaming to all hours of the night. Thumbs down to the lowlife who stole the new garden hose from 110 Legion Place in Gladstone, Manitoba. Thumbs up to the hardworking community members who have helped prepare for the Bernie Memorial Park Centennial Celebration this coming Saturday, July 16th. The park is looking great. Well done. Thumbs down to the thief who stole the pile of gravel from the north end of the Rosedale Farm Trail. You have sabotaged the efforts of a small group of volunteers who maintain the trail and were using the gravel to repair rough terrain on the trail. Shame on you. Thumbs down. I wonder how the private company, RF Now, which is laying cable in the ditch along Highway 16, is allowed to slow traffic down to 4 to 6 kilometers. Since they seldom move more than 200 meters a day, it would be logical to restrict the traffic for only 1 kilometer of the highway. There are numerous access roads where they could park their extra equipment when it's not being used. What If You Could? By Rita Friesen. And there's a picture of Lynn Harley biking across the prairies to promote her book. Lynn Harley, a life coach and speaker from Camrose, Alberta, has been inspired to write a book, challenging people of all ages to wonder and ponder, what if you could? Promoting her book to be released July 19th, Lynn is biking across much of the prairies. She stops when she wants to, travels as far as the spirit moves, always engaging in conversation with people she meets, and always the topic includes mental wellness. Transforming Mental Wellness, a Canadian organization highlighted at jack.org/whatif. You Could Tour is the inspiration for Lynn's journey. The work, jack.org, was founded by a couple that lost a son in death by suicide. Lynn and her family have been touched by such deep grief as well, and so many people with whom she speaks in high schools, in coffee shops and restaurants, or in homes also have a story to tell. Some of the statistics are staggering. 70% of symptoms related to anxiety and despair appear in childhood. The organization's goals are that through mentoring, educating, and empowering youth, the cycle will be broken. 25% of all youth deaths in Canada are attributed to death by suicide. The name of the organization reflects this: Transforming Mental Wellness, positive, empowering, and life-giving. The book is written in rhyme with impressive, colorful illustrations. The star, a caterpillar on its life journey. It encourages us to act like a butterfly while still in the cocoon. When we live a vision, it is no longer a dream, but a goal. We are reminded that life is not either or choice, but a yes and choice. Lynn is formulating her bike tour as it progresses. For now, the goal is to be in Quebec by September 6th, when she will be honored to officiate at her son's wedding. So far, only 2 nights have been spent in her tent, other nights hosted by folks she has met or friends of a friend. It was delightful and inspiring to speak with Lynn, one who is following her call, making a positive difference in our world. And roll out Carberry's Youth in Philanthropy, helping to fund community spaces, submitted by the Carberry Area Community Foundation. The Grade 10 Carberry Collegiate Youth in Philanthropy 2022 group did outstanding work this year. Carberry and Area Community Foundation gave the YIP students $2,000 to grant to local community projects. The group researched local needs and decided that their goal this time around was to focus the support on spaces where people can be together and enjoy one another. In addition to the funds provided by the Community Foundation, the YIP students held their own fundraiser to provide additional support to their projects of choice. The students worked on organizing a fundraiser raffle for many weeks, and thanks to their perseverance and personal donations and the generosity of residents and businesses, the YIP group raised an additional $1,628. The students were proud to provide $300 to Carberry Plains Community Centre for special lighting for the new roller rink. This is a great new initiative of CPCC, using the arena surface during the off-surface season. The Community Foundation awarded CPCC a Spring 2022 grant of $1,500 to help support the purchase of rental roller skates. The other project the Grade 10 Youth and Philanthropy group chose to support will also be a valuable addition to the community. A new outdoor classroom community pergola will be constructed at Carberry Collegiate on 2nd Avenue. During the day, the structure will serve as an outdoor learning space and a place to unwind during lunchtime and breaks. After school hours, the pergola will be available to be enjoyed by community members of all ages, a place to gather and enjoy the company of others. The plan is to put the structure up in late August or early September. In addition to the $1,700 YIP grant and the $1,628 YIP fundraising income, the project is being funded by a grant Carberry Collegiate received as part of Carberry and Area Community Foundation's 25th anniversary draw. Congratulations to the YIP students and staff for all of your hard work and this year. Thank you to Carberry Collegiate for supporting this endeavor and to the community for your contributions. And there's a picture of the Carberry Youth and Philanthropy group when they were presented with a check of $2,000. And here's a few pictures of fundraising and the group at work. And down here on the lower left side, Art loses his head in Minnedosa. The sculpture has been sitting outside Inspire Studio in Minnedosa for years. Aptly named Art has been vandalized. Someone decided to take the statue's head last weekend. Marlise Soltis, owner of Inspire Studio and creator of Art, shared her disappointment in a post on social media and asked the vandal to bring back Art's head. Whoa. Looking back. And that picture is Citizen Joy Fun in the Sundays in Neepawa's Chamber on Mountain Avenue in 1982. 110 years ago, George N. Heinsohn has resigned his position in the Land Titles Office to accept the General Agency for Northwestern Manitoba of the Federal Life Assurance Company, with headquarters in Neepawa. W.T. Barr of Wainwright and John Barr of Calgary are visiting the parental home in Neepawa. 100 years ago, decorators are at work in the old dining room of the King Edward Hotel, getting it in readiness for use as a billiard room. Tables are to arrive shortly. War Memorial Unveiling ceremonies were carried out in Neepawa yesterday under the most favorable circumstances in a most impressive manner to the entire satisfaction of all concerned, and the public as well. The monument now stands out in bold relief, a silent reminder of our obligations to humanity, an appeal for justice and right. Miss Gladys Poole left on Tuesday for Fort Frances, where she will continue her studies for admission to the Guild Forces of the Salvation Army. 90 years ago, Eden. There was a good attendance and a good time at the Swine Club dance in Danoon's Barn on Friday night. Excellent music was supplied by the Chernenko Brothers Orchestra. McCreary, the McCreary troupe of the Manitoba Horse, are looking forward to an enjoyable outing at Ochre Beach at the latter part of this month. 80 years ago, a farmer resident of the district, Mr. T. Common, passed away on Friday, July 3rd at the City Hospital in Larimore, North Dakota, where he had been ill for 7 months. Mr. Common was born at Galt, Ontario, and was in his 73rd year. He came west in 1896 and resided in the Stony Creek district until 1905, when he went to Inkster, North Dakota, where he made his home. 70 years ago, the outdoor movies shown each Sunday evening at Riverbend Park by the Neepawa District Junior Chamber of Commerce are becoming more popular each week. Last Sunday, it was estimated that more than 100 cars were at the grounds, with many youngsters and adults seated in front of the cars. Ideal weather and a large crowd made the celebration of the 60th anniversary of Hallborough School a decided success. 60 years ago, arrangements for teaching staff for the next term were completed Monday by the Neepawa School Board when it engaged a teacher for the proposed ungraded class, which it has tried to organize here for the past 2 years. Mrs. Rosa Mary Browning, whose mailing address is Gladstone, was formally hired by the board at its regular meeting Sunday. She is taking special training this summer to qualify for teaching the class. Parachuting for fun is a unique sport that got started in Neepawa this summer. It has attracted considerable interest and is likely to draw much more. The 20th gathering of the John Boy McCracken descendants was held at Rotary Park on Sunday, July 8th, with 58 attending. 50 years ago, McCreary, work officially commenced this week on the Opportunities for Youth project of creating a tent trailer overnight camping area paralleling number 5 highway at the southern approach to McCreary. Land for this project is being transferred to the rural municipality in the village of McCreary by donor Albert Fletcher, and the area will be named Fletcher Park. 40 years ago, horses may be allowed in some areas of Neepawa if Town Council next month approves a new conditional bylaw. The second annual edition of the Sun and Fun Days was very successful in all aspects, said Chamber of Commerce President Frank Nakes in an interview. He said the events were well attended and everyone seemed to be having a good time. Most of the events are planned for next year. He said there will be a few changes in format to some events and will be scaled down somewhat. It will be incorporated into the centennial celebration. 25 years ago, Ridey Mountain resident Steve Emery found a French medallion in his yard along with some French coins. By coincidence, the present owner of the house, Victoria McMahon Andrews, is a descendant of the man pictured on the medallion. 30 years ago, Manitobans will save almost $2 million on the cost of prescription drugs as a result of an addition of 600 generic drugs to the Manitoba Drug Benefits and Interchangeability Formulary. 20 years ago, prices may have changed over the past 40 years, but one thing hasn't. From its official opening on June 12, 1962, Neepawa's Agassiz Drive-In has been known for its great fruit and great ice cream. Helen Poole, who opened the drive-in with her husband Carmen 40 years ago, said she can remember selling the ice cream cones for 15 cents. And here's a full-page ad for the Makers Market, the Riverbend Market, which is coming to Riverbend Park July 22nd and July 23rd. There's a $5 admission, live music on Friday, and a concert on Saturday, Rockin' the Riverbend, which includes free entry to the market, or the market will be $5. All proceeds from the Riverbend Market will be donated to the public pool for a new slide. And you can see there's a lot of community support from businesses for that one. Makers Market returns with Rockin' the Riverbend. Neepawa's second annual event, expected to be bigger than before. There's a picture of the Riverbend Makers Market was a notable success when it first held in 2021 by Neepawa Tourism. A variety of vendors showcasing their talents, craft-related or otherwise, were a huge draw. This year it's returning in conjunction with Rockin' the Riverbend for a musical flair by Casper Warren. A smash hit event is returning to Neepawa this summer. The second annual Riverbend Makers Market has officially been scheduled for July 22nd and 23rd. Last year's event brought in 38 different vendors and just over 1,000 patrons, making it the weekend place to be. This year, market coordinator Kelsey Wilsons says that they are looking forward to building upon the success of the previous festivities. Neepawa Tourism has expanded upon the experience by adding a musical component. The inaugural Rockin' the Riverbend concert has been lined up to coincide with the Makers Market. With the addition of music, Jeff Descender, organizer and label executive for Frozen Fire Studios, says this year's market should be quite special. I believe adding the live music element to the Riverbend Market adds another flair and draw to an already creative event our town has that pertains to the arts as a whole. Descender enthused, this will be one of the bigger events musically that our town has done in years, and adding it to the market that had an awesome turnout last year helps plant seeds for what could become an annual event for Neepawa Tourism. Frozen Fire Studios, Badlands Promotions, and the Riverbend Market, Descender added. Talking to several people around town, a lot of inhabitants have been missing live music events in the community. The Lily Festival, for example, used to have live entertainment, vendors, you name it. We can't wait to have an arts-based events like this in our community after a hiatus of a few years. The Makers Market portion will be Friday, July 22nd from 5 to 8 p.m. and Saturday, July 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Rock in the Riverbend will run from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday, with performances from Mavis Rowe, Mitch and DB, and the Deadbeats, and 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, with performances from Midnight Renegade, Lunch Money, Seventh String, and Indigo. The first 45 minutes of Saturday's Rock in the Riverbend portion will also be dedicated as an open mic opportunity for anyone interested in music to be able to play their original or personal favorite songs. And here's a picture. Publisher Ken Waddell receives congratulations from the Neepawa Mayor. Neepawa Mayor Blake McCutcheon congratulates Neepawa Banner and Press publisher Ken Waddell on receiving his Lifetime Membership Award from the Manitoba Community Newspaper Association. Ken and his wife Christine have been publishing since 1989, and the Neepawa Banner and Press dates back to 1896. The Neepawa Banner and Press is the oldest business in Neepawa. And now we move on to sports news. Cornell claims 2022 NGCC Senior Open. By the Banner staff, 2022's edition of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club Senior Open was held Monday, July 11th. This event saw Ron Cornell of Brandon win the Champions Flight, shooting a 4-over par round of 76. A pair of former NGCC Senior Open champions just missed out on claiming victory as the 2018 winner Darren Maganell and 2019 champ Don Small finished in second and third place respectively. A special congratulations as well to Dale Rowley, who during the event sunk a hole-in-one on hole number 4. The next notable competition this season for the Neepawa Golf and Country Club will be the Ladies 50-plus tournament on Wednesday, August 3rd. It will be quickly followed by the Neepawa Titans Classic on August 5th. The club will then host to the Western Junior Tour stop on Tuesday, August 9th. Plumas Pirates defeat Portage, secure a place in SCBL playoffs by Owen Devereaux. The Plumas Pirates have ensured their place in the playoffs after a pair of wins over the Portage Padres. First, Plumas dominated on the road, winning in Portage La Prairie on Tuesday, July 5th by a score of 13-4. Nathan Braun led the way for the Plumas at the plate with a 3-for-5 effort, which included 3 runs batted in. Teammate Zach Yando also had a big game, going 2-for-4 with 4 runs batted in and a pair of stolen bases. Riley McBride picked up the win on the mound for Plumas with a 7-inning effort that included 4 strikeouts in the evening. The Pirates would follow that up the very next night with a 3-2 win at home over the Padres. In this much closer contest, Brady Walker of Plumas was just 1-for-3 at the plate and drove in a pair of important runs batted in. McBride, meanwhile, was 2-for-4. With these results, Plumas finished off the regular season in third place with a 4-4-0 record. Plumas Pirates would hit the ball diamond one more time with a benefit game against the Neepawa Cubs on Friday, July 8th. The matchup was in support of the daughter of Plumas Pirate Justin Walker, who has been diagnosed with a form of cancer. Delaloi looking forward to the challenges junior and amateur champions will provide. And there's a picture of Hayden Delaloi preparing for a pair of major golf tournaments over the next 2 weeks. By Owen Devereaux, the next few weeks are going to be extremely hectic for Neepawa's Hayden Delaloi as the teen golfer competes in a pair of important tournaments. The first of these events was the Golf Manitoba Junior Boys Championship, which was held at the St. Charles Country Club in Winnipeg from July 13th to 15th. Editor's note, this 3-day event was completed just after the Neepawa Press went to publication deadline. In the 2021 Junior Championship, Delaloi secured a top 15 finish in the overall standings, and while he hopes to improve on that result this year, he knows it will be a challenge. I'm looking for a top 5 finish. I think that's my realistic goal. Last year, my first 2 rounds weren't what I'd hoped for, but I finished off the tournament with a round of 74, which was decent, said Delaloi. This year it'll be tough. There are some very skilled golfers out there. I'll just have to play for the course smart. Play it short, hit the fairways, and hope to hit for the best. Next up after the Junior Championship will be the Not Autocorp Men's Open Amateur Championship. That too will be held in Winnipeg, though it will be played at the Elmhurst Country Club on July 21st to 23rd. Delaloi stated that in preparation for both tournaments, he has been working on his short game, specifically putting. I've been working on a new putting strategy with my coach. I think it's been working out pretty good, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. And Carberry, North Cyprus, Langford. Here and there, honor roll students recognized. Above picture are the honor roll students and presenters. And this is by Gladwin Scott. 34 students graduated from Carberry Collegiate Monday, June 27th, with Principal Bruce McCallum as Master of Ceremonies. Greetings and congratulations were given by Jason Young, Superintendent Stuart Olmsted, Mayor and R.J. Waugh staff after graduate, and Andy Nicolation, Sango, Canada. Scholarships worth $42,500 were handed out, along with another $25,000 in institution entrance awards. Valedictorians, Luke Robson and Matthew Sallin, were elected by the class. Sallin was recipient of a $7,700 in awards, plus a University of Manitoba entrance scholarship. Graduating students who qualified for the honor roll, 85%, were Natalie Clark, Amy DeRoche, Andy Nicolation, Luke Robson, Annette Sippel, Nevaeh Witherspoon, while 4 more joined the principal's honor roll, 90% plus, Celia Belgains, Denise Macabagal, Candace Laverne, and Matthew Sallin. The Carberry Ag Society enjoyed 3 beautiful days for their first fair and races in 3 years, followed by a huge rainy downpour. One of the popular unique events was the 7th potato truck pull, which saw 19 teams of 10 members compete against the time clock. This year, the event raised $206,123.25 for Cancer Care Manitoba, which brought the 7-year total to $865,941.72 for a great cause. 1 women's team participated, and Team Dawson was the fastest team with a time of 18:45 and won the trophy. The new head custodian in the Carberry schools is Paul Natak, and the new assistant head custodian is Cynthia Wood. The RM of Deloraine Winchester and the swimming pool board decided not to open the local pool this summer. The pool, built in 1980, requires renovations and an engineering assessment. 2 golf legends, Al Greer, 94, and Jack Gowanluck, 96, participated in the official opening on July 1st for the Glenborough Golf and Country Club's 100th anniversary celebrations. Greer, formerly from Spy Hill, was a baseball star with the Holder All-Stars, who were inducted into the Saskatchewan Baseball Hall of Fame in North Batterford. Jill Officer, 2014 Olympic gold medalist and 6-time Scotties Tournament of Heart champion, has accepted the role of High Performance Director with Curl Manitoba. She replaced Connie Laliberte on July 1st, who retired after holding the position since 1985. Pearson Bruins to Hockey Hall by Gladwin Scott. Geordie Douglas, former Winnipeg Jet and Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame director, has informed the Pearson Bruins, 1953 to 61, that they will be inducted into the Dynasty category October 8th. The Bruins won the Southwest League, which varied from 6 to 15 teams and were always prominent in the provincial playoffs. One of their best years was 1954, when they won provincial B and AB championships and lost their final game to the Dauphin Kings, 4-time Western Canada champions. Hockey historians will recall some of their lead of the goalies, Glenn Murray, defenseman, Alan Butch Lee, and center Barry Edgar. The team was nominated twice, 2010 and 2016, but unfortunately now most of the players have passed away. However, some of the family members are excited about the small community's historic occasion. A small committee has been set up for any hockey supporters of the Pearson Bruins who are interested in the Hall of Fame induction banquet, which is held every 2 years. Committee members include Bob Lee, Bill Lee's son, Barb Lee, Alan's wife, Laura Jean Camba, Alan's daughter, Barry Edgar's daughters, Janie McNish and Laurie Jones, and you can contact them for any information on banquet tickets, and their phone numbers are available. Yellowhead's Connor Geeky, selected by Arizona Coyotes in 2022 NHL Draft, and there's a picture of Connor Geeky from Strathclair. Connor Geeky, who turned 18 on May 5th and graduated from Strathclair School in late June, was selected 11th by the Arizona Coyotes in the first round of the 2022 NHL Draft in Montreal, July 7th. Geeky, 6'3" and 190 pounds, scored 24 goals plus 46 assists, had 49 penalty minutes, and had an excellent plus-minus of 46 in 63 games with the WHL's Winnipeg Ice. In a telephone interview from Montreal, Connor's mother, Toby, stated, "Our family was very excited, proud, and relieved when his name was called 11th. We did not realize that there would be such a large crowd of relatives and families present." The Bell Centre was extremely boisterous. In conclusion, Toby mentioned that Winnipeg had 14th pick, but she knows Arizona has warmer winters than Manitoba. Connor will go to training camp, but likely will play with the Ice next winter. His brother, Morgan, 24, plays in the NHL with the Seattle Kraken. His middle brother, Noah, 22, is a southpaw pitcher with Okotoks, Alberta in the Western Canadian Baseball League and with Emporia State University. Connor plays baseball with Oak River and in the Southwest Baseball League. And there's an article, Justin Miller competes at Calgary Stampede, and there's a picture here. Professional steer wrestler Justin Miller, formerly of Neepawa, has returned to competition at the 2022 Calgary Stampede. In 4 days of competition, Miller's results were as follows. Editor's note, the lower the score, the better the results for the competitor. July 8th, score NT. July 9th, score 8.7. July 10th, score 4.7. July 11th, score 3.8. The strong final few days resulted in Miller moving into 5th place in the overall standings. And here's the Norgate History Part 2 by Casper Warren. Rail, mail, and general business in the village. There's a couple of pictures there, Dorothy and Mrs. Granger, Les and Marjorie Hills, Murray Moore, and on the right, Dan's Groceries, a grocery for the village of Norgate. And above, folks waiting for a train. Railways revolutionized transportation. In the old days, much like Neepawa once had a railway station, Norgate also had its own in those bygone days. The first train went through Norgate on September 1st, 1903. The availability of this sort of service allowed farmers to order freight cars, hold their grain, and ship it directly to the lakehead. Eventually, in 1917, the Federal Grain Company even built an elevator at Norgate. The elevator operated until its closure in 1963, when it was sold to the Hutterite colony at Ridey Mountain. But grain wasn't the only thing moving by rail. Mail was an item people in the wee village of Norgate eagerly waited for at the train platform. Mail would come from the south on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the north on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. The trains eventually stopped coming, with the last visit having been on December 10th, 1979. The tracks removed in the summer of 1980, but postal services remained a while longer. Malcolm McGilvery was the first postmaster, with J.J. Moore following after him, the office being located in his store. There were no specified time periods available in the McCreary Milestones and Memories book for either of their careers as postmaster. However, those following them were J.H. Moore, 1908 to 1922, F.H. Granger, 22 to 47, Dan McSimic for just a few months after Granger, using his own store, and then John and Helen Sewell from 47 to 71. The Sewell family operated the post office from their home until services ceased. Village businesses. The Norgate village had 5 businesses within its lifetime as a community. Unfortunately, not all of their histories are written to include their names within the McCreary Milestones and Memories book. One was owned and operated by J.J. Moore, located west of the railway tracks on the south side of the road. He and his son, J.H. Moore, operated it until 1922, before selling it to F.H. Granger. Granger operated it until 1947, when it was again sold to new owners, Pete and Mary Zelizniak. A while later, in 1954, the business was destroyed by fire and never rebuilt. A second business, operated for an unspecified period of time, was owned by Dan McSimic. It was located west of the town's church, in what was formerly the home of J. McGilvery. A man by the name of John Dubinsky purchased it from McGilvery, then later sold it to Jack McMillan. One business agricultural types may find interest is in the Case Tractor dealership, which was owned by Gordon and Earl Jensen from 1935 to 1938. It was operated from the Norgate farm, and although the dealership itself wasn't around for very long, the farm was still around in 1987. At that time, it was owned by Peter and Jane Kapitko, 1 mile east of Highway 5. Another business was owned by Pat and Jean Robinson. Located at the northeast corner of Highway 5 and 19, Pat and Jean ran their shop from 1938 to 1946. Monica Lamkin took up the torch after them, purchasing the business and running it until it closed its doors in 1968. That business is what had become known as Lamkin Corner Store. The final operation discussed in the MMM book was a store and filling station located across Highway 19 and to the south of the same junction. It was built and operated by Mary and Charles Wiley from 1965 to 1979. An individual hailing from Winnipeg, named as Mrs. Kapetka in the books, purchased and operated it for one more year. Once that year-long ownership concluded, it was sold to Bert and Barbara Larwood. The Larwoods closed shop up in 1985, making the end of the last business to exist in Norgate. And there's a picture here, the Neepawa Legion declares golf tourney winners. The winners of the Neepawa Legion golf tournament were Shannon and Tanya Platt and Rob Cameron and Desi Platt. And 4-H beef clubs hold fat stock show and sale. And there's pictures here. The area 4-H beef club members took the chance to show off their cattle in this year's fat stock sale and sale at the Neepawa Ag Complex on Wednesday, July 6th. Pictured above, club members showing their heifers listened for the results from the judges. Left and below, some of the cattle at the show in their grooming chutes, while the club members were cleaning and grooming them for the competition. And that concludes the newspaper for Friday, July 15th, 2022. Thank you for listening.